Well, within the past few hours, passengers on that Gwinnett County transit bus who were taken against their will on a high-speed chase across metro Atlanta were finally able to go home. This is video taken just after midnight, hours after that chase had come to an end. You can see a lot of those passengers getting their things and reuniting with family.
This chase stretched 16 miles, went through 3 counties, and lasted about 40 minutes. All of it started in downtown Atlanta. Then it went up through Gwinnett County, finally coming to an end in DeKalb.
And everyone was talking about that chase, which unfolded just as the evening rush was getting underway.
Atlanta News First reporter Rebecca Schramm is joining us live right now from the Fulton County Jail. Rebecca, the suspect faces a long list of charges.
He does, Grier and Brooks. Police say he terrorized countless people on that transit bus and around the bus yesterday at the start of the afternoon commute. They say that he killed a man on the bus and then pointed a gun at the head of the bus driver, forcing that driver to flee from police. We'll take a look at what happened. This is video as the bus dangerously weaved in and out of traffic with law enforcement vehicles in pursuit. Police tell us they originally got a call that someone was holding people hostage on a bus on Ivan Allen in downtown Atlanta and that a shot had been fired. When an officer arrived, the man forced the driver to take off. Several people were on that bus, including the driver, who police called a hero. When the chase finally ended, police took a man into custody. They identified him as 39-year-old Joseph Grier of Stone Mountain. They tell us he is a convicted felon with 19 prior arrests. Here's what a witness told us.
I see there's a bus speeding towards our direction and it starts going to the wrong side of the road. This big cloud of debris happened and then police just started passing us. It felt like forever.
And we are working this morning to find out the identity of the person who was killed on that bus. We're also working to get the mugshot of the suspect and to find out when he might appear in court for the first time. Coming up in our next half hour, you're going to hear from a man whose wife was on that bus. Can you imagine getting that phone call? Live at the Fulton County Jail, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
Yeah.